Hey friends, it's McRae's mom. Before we start this episode, I want to take a moment to share something. Throughout this podcast, we've talked about what it's like to walk this journey from a parent's perspective. Getting the diagnosis, the hospital stays, the long nights at the Ronald McDonald House. But today we're seeing it through a different lens, through the eyes of the nurses who walk beside families like ours. To every nurse listening, thank you. You are the heartbeat of every hospital room, the calm in the chaos, the ones who show up when the rest of the world is asleep. You steady, shaking hands and somehow make a sterile space feel like home. You may not even realize how deeply your presence lingers in the lives that you've touched. Two nurses in particular changed my life forever. Karin and Sherri. Care Bear and Cher Bear. They are to me like the sun and the moon. Karin radiates warmth and energy and light. She fills a room with laughter and courage. Sherri brings a peaceful kind of strength, quiet, sincere, steady, the kind of presence that anchors you when everything feels like it's drifting away. Both are a force to be reckoned with. They taught me how to advocate when my voice shook, how to read the language of wires and numbers, how McRae communicated his needs through the ECMO circuit or a ventilator long before words could ever come, or noises, or eye contact. Karin was the one who helped me hold McRae for the very first time. It was the best Christmas present. A moment that changed everything for me as a mom. And when I couldn't be there, Sherri picked up right where I left off. She read him his nightly Bible stories, no questions asked, just love, just instinct, knowing it was what he and I both needed. These women remind me that advocacy isn't just medical. It's emotional, it's spiritual, and it is deeply human. They are living proof that nurses don't just heal bodies, they help hold hearts together. So in this episode, you're going to hear both of their stories. Now, I wasn't able to interview them together due to scheduling, but I asked them the exact same questions, and in that, you'll hear the beautiful contrast and the harmony of these two women who live out the same calling in their own extraordinary ways. And with that, welcome to another episode of Breathe Between Battles. I'm so happy that you're listening. Now, this one's going to be a little bit longer of an episode because I am interviewing two of my very good friends, but I just want you guys to get a taste of what I got. These are just incredible people to be around, and they helped me so much on my journey with McRae, and I cannot wait to share them with you. I just wish that you guys got to know as well as I did. Maybe you will. Just give it a listen. All right, here we go. I'm sure you guys have heard of the movie Driving Miss Daisy, but this is not the movie. This is actually two friends sitting very intimately at the end of a bed recording a podcast.
On a workbench.
It's called Interviewing Miss Daisy.
That's cute.
Daisy winner, and two-time nominee, Karin Kaufman.
Add the clapping.
Sound effects of clapping here. Okay, I'm just going to start off.
Okay.
Here we go. What is your name, Miss Lady?
My name is Chloë, my lady.
Thank you, my lady.
Sorry.
It's okay. Okay. What initially led you to nursing and specifically to caring for babies with complex medical needs?
Well, honestly, I used to want to be a doctor when I was younger. And then I grew up and realized that the nurses are the ones that are there at the bedside all the time. And truthfully, adults are just kind of gross. So,
Yeah, I would agree.
So I've always been intrigued. I love babies. I've always been intrigued by babies, by their care. Everybody thinks that they're just like tiny adults. They are so not just tiny adults.
Mhm.
They're so different and so complex, and they don't talk to you. So you have to really be, I feel like, connected with them.
Mhm.
And I feel like you're able to kind of like read their signs better because they're not telling you what's wrong.
It's a different level of communication.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's magical, honestly.
It is.
Cher Bear, what led you to nursing?
Wow. So what led me to nursing, I had a lifetime of adult life sales related business, which I loved, absolutely enjoyed. And I was just looking for something that would fulfill me for the rest of my life. So I decided to go back to school after 20 years and was just taking some basic college classes and decided to walk through the entire SPC Gibbs campus. Like, what am I going to do? And I had been like in prayer.
So this wasn't like you were
know.
born, I'm going to be a nurse one day.
No,
Oh, cool.
I was 38 going back to school.
It's amazing.
Yeah, 38 going back to school after years of trying to figure out who I was and what I was supposed to be doing with my life. And decided one day after one of my speech classes to just walk the whole campus and all of the various departments, because I still didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I was walking through the health campus, going down the hallway, and I stopped at a display cabinet. And there were hearts and, various organs displayed. And a person was approaching me, and it turned out this gentleman was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life." And come to find out, it was nursing. And he said to me, he goes, "Well, you're supposed to be a nurse." He was the anatomy professor. He was a very special man, and he is, I feel like, the angel that led me, to that. And so that was it. And I contacted my friend Deb, who I actually worked with in the funeral industry, which is what I was doing prior. And her husband worked at SPC Health Campus. And talked among their staff. All of that was managed, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to get approved with the board or not, but I'm going to start taking these classes. And I just started taking the anatomy and the biology and doing all of those things. And finally, in 2014, I graduated with my associate. Started doing adult care right away, while I was also still running a full-time business doing health insurance consulting, Medicare, Medicaid, health insurance consulting.
How did CDH, or you were CVICU, right?
Yeah, so I did adult care for a year and a half, 2 years while I was getting my BSN. And my whole goal was pediatrics. Initially, it was oncology. But having worked in adult care with the cardiac population, I just fell in love with the heart, because it truly is the beating pulse of the body.
Yeah.
And when I applied at All Children's, which was my whole goal of going to nursing, after I realized that this was what God had called me to, that it was pediatrics. And I applied to the nursing program, and I was with CVICU for about 10 years. And decided to go into the ECMO program. And that is where I fell in love with the CDH. Not the CDH as a defect as much as
those babies,
the families and the nurses that were taking care of these babies. It just was a very close-knit family type feel, and I was drawn to that. So I moved myself from the cardiac world to the CDH unit, and I have just loved
Never
it
looked
since.
back.
Yeah, never looked back. Never looked back.
Karin, what does it mean to you when families say their nurses become family, when you hear that? Because I talk about all my nurses being my family since I was away from my family for so long, which is a very unique situation. But when you have a condition such as CDH and you're in the hospital for months, do you think as a nurse, we become family like how we think it? If that makes sense?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. I don't know. I've always believed that family is who it can be who you choose, not necessarily somebody that has to be blood related to you. Family, like the meaning of family, is somebody that you care about and somebody that, you spend the time with. And I feel like, we spend at least minimum 36 hours a week with these families at the bedside. Sometimes more, that's more time than we spend with our own biological families that are home. So for lack of a better word, of like trauma bonding. I mean, it's like you're going through it together. You know, you become part of their family. I mean, unfortunately, when these babies are in the hospital for so long, most of their lives, sometimes all of their lives, you know, their family becomes the nurses because we're the ones that spend time with them. Like they don't, unfortunately, know their grandparents. So if they never, for example, get to leave, then, you know, I think one way to say this is there was a baby that I took care of for 8 months and she passed away. And I went to her funeral and her entire family was huge. And they brought me and her other 2 primary nurses to the front to sit by her parents. And I was just like, why? Why are you, you know, like, we're not, you know, we're not biologically related, but that really like clicked for me that's like, we were that baby's family.
Yeah.
That baby knew us. That baby like spent more time with us than anyone else.
And you know, you get to know them. I mean, McRae definitely, sorry.
No, it's okay. The dog.
Definitely had preferred people in nurses. And when it was somebody, and it doesn't mean that they're bad at their job or they're a bad nurse. It, like what you said, you do become family. And he loved when you were in the room. He looked for you. He recognized your voice and you could get him to do things when he was a cranky old man and didn't want to do them. And so I definitely agree with that. And a little background on Karin, she's ECMO. So when she said they're in this room for 36 hours a week, when you're on ECMO, you have to be monitored the entire time. There is no chance where I was ever alone in the room with McRae. And I don't even know. I'd probably think I'd be fine. I learned so much about ECMO.
You definitely be taught you a lot.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Well, no, because you'll have one person running the pump.
Yep.
And then you'll have one person as the nurse. So there's always 2 people in there. You know, sometimes one person will take a break or not, but it's just like,
yes,
you really never leave the room.
It's different. It's different if you haven't been in that situation. I love that with the funeral. That's so true. And I bet it's a respect thing too. It's not even a jealousy. Me as a mom with other kids, I loved feeling comfortable and being able to leave the room with my nurses, knowing they were going to be taking care of McRae. He was not just a patient. He really was their family. And I do mean that so seriously. And you get to know, as a family in the NICU, you get to know the nurses just as much. I'm knowing, like, I watched so many of my nurses get engaged, or it was their wedding, or you see nurses pregnant and then their babies are born and you get to know them too. And now when I came back, because it's been McRae passed in January, there's like 4 nurses that have babies now, and I've missed a whole pregnancy, or, you know, things like that.
You knew about it when they got pregnant,
yeah,
right?
like life, it keeps going. I think, me personally, with Sherri, we really did become family. I mean, Thanksgiving, we had that, and I've met Sherri's amazing wife and her awesome best friend. And how does that weigh on you?
It is one of the most beautiful parts of what we do as nurses. And it's a privilege to feel that from the parents, because ultimately, to be invited into someone's family is an amazing privilege. And the families that particularly dealing with, you know, a severe defect and acuity of illness, in their darkest moments, for them to bring you into their hearts, for them to invite you, that is such a privilege. Such a privilege. And I just feel that we are brought into this world under, you know, DNA, and you're my parent, you're my siblings, but your family that you choose through life and the family that you choose in various moments, I feel like that is so much more powerful than what you're born into, because it is a thoughtful invitation. And it is the most beautiful. And I feel extremely privileged when the baby's parents and families and caregivers invite us into their families. And I feel like they're my family too.
Yes. It definitely goes both ways. I know, you know, I could hear about you and I knew of you before I knew you, and just from the CDH group. So when we say you guys do become family, you do. You do. Like, I will remember you for the rest of my life, because I did not have my family and I did get to pick who my family or community was in that moment. And it's different. And there's no, I'm not disrespecting like going to a general doctor's appointment and having my nurse. They're also very kind people. But when you're in this unique situation where you live in a hospital for months at a time, it is an honor. It would be so sad if that was, you just go to work and you go home and we just see our kid and we go home.
Right.
That having that connection is great. And it also taught me so much. And I could ask, and family advocates for family. If my sister's getting in a fight and she needs me to come, of course I'm going to show up for my sister. But that same weight of relationship and care and effort also is in the hospital, because when I had questions about McRae or even help, like, hey, what does this mean? You're teaching me and you're helping me advocate and you're helping me push for him. So it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Advocacy is one of the strongest driving forces for me.
Mm-hmm.
Love and compassion, that is innate. Advocacy is something I truly focus on. I see and I try to do what I can to identify the needs of, the families in front of me. And I recall so many times being able to help guide you in developing questions to bring to the team so you could elicit what you were trying to grasp from the plan of care. That's my ultimate goal, is fierce advocacy.
It's a good goal. He had some really good advocates all around. He was very, very lucky. How do you balance the clinical side of your job with the emotional connection, speaking of family, that you build? Do you think you balance them?
Let's start with that. Do I balance that? No, not well. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
I've been a nurse for like 16 years and I'm still working on it. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a lot of times it's good and bad. Like, for example, like in your situation, in a lot of the CDH babies, a lot of the families are relocating. So they're there at the bedside all the time. For example, like if it was a NICU baby, maybe the family didn't anticipate this happening. So maybe they weren't able to take 3 months off of work to be there. So maybe they're not there as frequently. So you kind of become the voice for the parents. And I think I've always kind of had that where I want to teach the parents from day one, like all about their baby, ask all the questions, ask it 100 times. Like, let's talk about, what do you think, when you walk in the room, what are the vibes you're getting? Like, do you, because I always trust in the parents. I always say, trust your intuition. Like, your baby the best. And if you come in the room and you look at them or I even walk in the room and I'm like, oh, he doesn't look like himself today. I think that's just part of me and just the way I practice being a nurse. I also have always thought, if this was my child or my loved one or my family member, what would I want to see when I walked in the room? Like, how would I want to see them laying? Like, I had a family member one time tell me that she was like, every single time you had my baby, she was so comfortable. Like, I would walk in the room and she just looked like she was so comfy, cozy in her little bed, and it sucks not being able to hold your baby and to walk in the room and see your baby comfortable and happy and not upset and angry and sad because they're not being held. Like, that just spoke to me. So I think I need to work on the balance, but I mean, I also don't feel like I need to. I kind of feel like that makes me who I am. And, it's hard sometimes, but
you're also a mom. It's hard.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to have a kid. I would leave the room because McRae had a twin sister and I would have to go feed her, or I would have to go sleep, and I'd stay at Ronald McDonald, and I would come back and they would turn 1 month old or 2 months old, and Karen would be working and she made banners. When I tell you, he was not just the patient, he was family, but there's just these unspoken boundaries and rules. And I don't, it wasn't, so many people have weird relationships with their in-laws or something, and they don't want people calling their baby like my baby. And none of that matters when you're in the NICU. Like, I wanted him to be everybody's baby. There was no such thing as like any nurse crossing a line when it came to McRae, because you guys you get to know him too. And when he's getting mad, you're like, no, he needs butt pats. He needs, I know he needs butt pats. And all of that. I think it's beautiful.
A really good friend of mine that was a surgeon used to tell me, she said, what do NICU nurses do at the beginning of their shift? And when I looked at her, I was like, what? And she's like, they pee around the bed. Like,
that's so true.
I'm like, you're so weird, but also it's so true.
No, it's so
like,
true.
I hear what you're saying, because these are our babies and they are our patients, and they can't advocate for themselves.
Right.
They can't talk. They can't speak. So I'm here. I'm their voice. So yeah, we get a little territorial.
I think consistency is key. I loved when I would have a nurse like 4 days in a row or 3 days in a row, if that was possible. Oh, I would beg for that. I love it.
It was nice.
That can be a very colorful scenario, so to say, because there are, the legalities of what we have to balance in our relationships. But it's very challenging to not fully love when that is in your nature. So finding that balance between clinical and otherwise, it's honestly a very close relationship. Because my clinical brain is always on. When I walk in the hospital, it's like I'm like, what am I seeing in my area? Assessing the patient's clinical hemodynamics, etc. But I feel like just as important is identifying and feeling the non-clinical things in the room.
What is one small thing that families do? And this is a two-part question. What's one small thing that families do that make a big difference in your day during their hospital stay, and then later whenever they leave? I know so many families like to give back, and so many people who can't go and visit, especially if it's a high-level NICU or a situation where they have a band like we had during RSV season. A lot of people ask, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And I've talked about pillowcases, and I've talked about swaddles and things for babies, but also nurses. I would love when the parents would set up a little candy station, or they would hand out drinks and stuff like that. So I want to hear the materialistic answer to that, what you secretly like to get spoiled with. But I also want to hear the first part of it about what families do that you see makes a difference while they're there.
Materialistically speaking, caffeine.
Yes.
Caffeine is number one. We always like special treats. I mean, it just says that you're just thinking about, so it's great if you never know what kind of day you're having. So, even just parents able to bring in something, we always appreciate the smallest things, even if it's like a bag of suckers. I mean, it's just it came from your heart.
Oh,
so
gosh, when I would have chocolate, I would be handing out I was positive reinforcing when they would say something nice to me. I'd hand a piece of chocolate.
You're like, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay. But I think as far as non-materialistic, I think the reward for me is when I see, for example, things you would do with McRae, and just you could just sense, you just sense when you walked in the room, he was so different. He just knew his mommy was here. And it just that is such an amazing,
And there's some babies that don't. I do want to say there are some babies that don't, and it doesn't mean sometimes parents, like you said, they can't relocate.
Yeah,
they can't be there.
Even
so it's such a blessing. It's terrifying and terrible because I was away from my family and my kids, but it was so good because I was solely McRae's person for so long.
And I saw you struggle with that. I saw you with, what was going on at home.
Their first snow.
Yeah, and it's just, that just destroys your heart. And then at Christmas, it was the kids were sick and they weren't able to come up. And it was just, my heart was just breaking for you. And I just, in my experience as a NICU nurse, I mean, sometimes these babies are in the hospital for 5 months and parents have to go back to work, So we're the ones that are there to see these firsts. And personally, I feel like just letting the parents know and trying to capture pictures if you can, or moment and letting them know, about, I mean, it's just, it's a horrible, horrible struggle. Just, I don't know.
And we learned from you too. I learned so much from Karin, from McRae. I always say McRae's nurses, his people. When you said, when you walk in the room and they look different, I wouldn't have even known. Your life is just upside down. I didn't know anything about CDH. I didn't know CDH existed, but then CDH became my entire world, and it wouldn't have been so I want to say easily accessible, or I wouldn't have been the sponge that I was to soak up everything if I did not have nurses like Karin who were telling me, you know, when I think of potassium, I'm like, oh, his potassium's low, eat a banana. But then like potassium on ECMOs are completely different. And then everything mattered. Like how fast the blood was going into his body mattered. And ECMO, if you guys don't know about it, just look it up. Like, I could talk about it all day. That would be such a long episode because I love it. But that is we learn from nurses like you. And I think it's so important for parents to not be afraid to ask questions, to not just listen and go with everything, because you are the most consistent if you're visiting every day piece.
But even if you're not visiting every day, you know, like you still learn. You'll call and get updates, and we'll give you updates on things. And
don't be afraid of the nurses.
Yeah, don't ever, please.
I called the unit
we're
so
there
much.
24 hours a day. Call in the middle of the night. Call. It doesn't matter. Like we're always there. Change of shift kind of sucks because sometimes our phones might not be logged in. So that always initiates an immediate panic because your nurse isn't answering the phone right away. But majority of the time, we want you to ask questions. We want you to learn. We want you. There's no stupid question. There's no like we want the baby's going home with you, hopefully, you know. And
I definitely feel like it's such a thing. I feel like there is this point of desensitization or whatever the word is, where sometimes I truly feel like it's more of a doctor thing where they do get desensitized and they do get to go home. And there are some nurses, truthfully, that are like that too and don't know how to do stuff. But having like nurses like you and the nurses that you're not just leaving this baby is so amazing, because it doesn't annoy you asking questions, because it is an intimidation thing, especially if you know when somebody knows more than you. It's very intimidating to ask a question and not feel like you're being belittled. But that is not a vibe.
More than you.
Because it's your life. Because it's your life. You work it.
I taught you how to run an ECMO, sorry. No,
yeah, true.
Just bleep that out.
But no, I'm telling you, and I really hope, this was my experience. I've never had a kid in a NICU, and there are some people who unfortunately have had every single kid that they had was in the NICU, but the nurses I had that were my people and McRae's consistent, I really feel like I could not have learned and done what I did without you guys teaching me everything that I knew. And I just have so much respect for you, because it's not, I don't know, I fell in love with you guys as nurses, and then my other favorite nurses were my labor and delivery nurses.
Yeah.
Those were always the best nurses. But then like I go to a general doctor's appointment, and sometimes I'm like, do you hate your job? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But I'm like, there's so much cooler nursing jobs out here.
I know.
Yeah, like,
well, you know, you can go, and that's funny because we all kind of think the same thing too. We're like, why would you do? Why would you go to school to do that? But okay.
Yeah. No. And there's some people who will never touch a baby. Like there's some people that's a thing.
Yep.
What's something that stands out about families to you?
Well, I would say, and it's not a small thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not to the baby. It's a big thing. But showing up. And not just showing up, but being present. That is the biggest gift to a nurse. Because we see so much, and we see families not show up. So when families show up and they show up present, that is what drives things home for me. It gives me the opportunity to teach, to show them how they can still be involved in their baby's care, even though they have these cannulas in their neck, their tubes down their throat, and, you know, lines here, there, and everywhere. I want to be able to show them that they can have
how to be mom
involvement.
Yeah.
And it may not be that picture that they saw in their heart's mind as, they found out they were pregnant. But this is a new normal. And it just brings me such joy when I can involve them in the care of their critically ill child that they thought that they couldn't touch.
Yes, that's such a thing. The fear of touching their kid.
Showing them that it's okay. And teaching them like what is going to be best for their child. It's not always going to be little foot pats. It might just be a calm pressure hold, which goes miles. We can see it in the baby's numbers.
Yeah.
That is what gives me joy. That gives me joy. Honestly, beyond that, everything else is just icing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is icing. The thank yous, the candies, the cards, the forever friendships, that's just icing for me. But the show up and giving me the opportunity to teach them how to love their child in this scenario, a scenario that they never thought or imagined.
It falls back on that family aspect, though, because those babies become your babies too. And you're proud when they do have family showing up every day and you know, like, they're going to go home to that. It makes you proud. You're like, we worked on this, you know?
Yes.
So it does. They blend together.
It's beautiful.
How do you keep showing up heart open when you've walked through so much loss and love? How do you come back to work? And also when, like, a baby does die, do you take off work? How does that work? Hard question.
So hard.
Because you're not just turning it off. Like I said, you're going home and you're still thinking about these babies.
Yeah, you definitely are. And then you go home and you look at your kids and you just think, why do I get to go home to my kid and this person doesn't get to? Like that. Sometimes you just question, like, that just doesn't seem fair. And then you learn to choose your battles. Like, you know what? You want ice cream for dinner? Yeah, let's have ice cream for dinner. Or we're going to have ice cream first. Or you know what? Because who knows? I could die in a car accident tomorrow. Or, life is just too short, not to sound totally cliche, but I don't know. Do
you feel like you have more of that mentality because of your position?
I think what I've kind of feel like I've been able to do is the majority of the time I get in, like, not necessarily a fight or flight mode, but more of like can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say whatever you want.
Shit just needs to be done.
Yeah.
And the most important thing right now in this moment is saving that child and doing what that child needs, and all feelings aside, like, I've been in multiple codes. I've been in multiple situations where sometimes people might yell at you or snap at you. And I'm like, this is fair game. You can say whatever you want.
You're saving their life.
Yeah. I don't even care. You can cuss at me. You can throw something at me. I don't even care. The number one thing that has to happen right now is we need to bring this baby back, or we need to fix the situation, or we need to do this. And I feel like I've kind of been able to, in that situation, strangely, just turn it on. And just...
It's like a switch.
It is. It's like an automatic switch, and it just happens. And I just react. And I will say that there was one nurse at my old hospital, Angela and I, that used to, like... People would come and sit in a room sometimes and just watch us work together, like, on a critical admission. Like, this kid is sicker than shit and just not doing well. And her and I wouldn't even talk.
Yep. But you're also not bumping into each other.
Yeah. We just did everything we needed to do. There was and everything would happen just beautifully.
In harmony.
You know? And I feel like in that situation, I'm able to do well. A lot of times I can do okay at work. And then walking out to my car, it's over.
I was going to say, when does it hit you? How soon does it hit you?
Most of the time, I can make it to my car.
Wow.
Most of the time.
I didn't know if it would be like a build up where it's like, okay, you have like 3 days off and then you finally emotionally catch up. So it hits you.
Yeah. It hits me right away. And there's times where it hits me right away too. There's times where it's like, it's been just rough. And it just took a teeny tiny little thing to set me over the edge, and that did it, and it's over, and I'm done, and I'm upset. But most of the time, I feel like I can make it to my car.
I don't think I've seen you break character, you know? I don't think, obviously, like, we've made jokes and stuff like that, but as a parent, obviously I knew you guys loved McRae and you took care of him, but I don't think I was at the emotional capacity to even think that you guys, I knew you, like, loved him, but, like, had emotions, or, like, your lows, you saw his lows and felt his lows as almost deeply, or as deeply as we did, because, like you said, you get so attached, so I never even thought about that until you said that.
You feel defeated. Like, I constantly will, like, if a situation does not go well, or if I lose a patient, like, that gets replayed in my mind over and over and over and over and over again.
Even if you weren't working that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think, what could I have done different? What did I not notice? Like, I'm always trying to learn from that situation. Like, is there something I could have done differently? Is there something I could have said? Is there something I could have suggested? Is there something we should have, like, it constantly, I just play that on my mind. Like, how could I have made it better? Or is there anything I could have done better for the family? Or
I hate that you have those questions, but it's also reassuring and comforting in a way, because obviously we have those questions as parents. And so it's so easy when you're not directly affected to be like, don't think like that. It's so easy to say that.
I can't.
And so,
and there's some people that can.
Yeah.
There's some people that just like
compartmentalize.
Yep. Are at the job, do the job, and go home. And it's like, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am constantly, this is somebody's kid.
But I think that's what makes
this
you
is
different.
Somebody, yeah.
That's
this is somebody's
why I want
loved
you
one.
in his room. Yeah.
Yeah. And you need to treat this person as a human. They are still human beings.
They are
you know,
still
I think
human beings.
Surgeons sometimes look at babies that are patients because they can cut into them. I mean, who can cut into a human?
Yeah.
You know, when you go to OR, it's like they're covered. And I think they kind of have to desensitize themselves to that. But like I think there are some people that are just built where.
Mm-hmm. That's how you know it's callings. You know, some people are built to go into the military. They've always wanted to go into the military. There's some people who will never be a nurse. There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people.
There's actually a lot of people
that would never.
Yeah, so it's a thing. What do you think, or how do you think you keep showing up heart open when you've walked through so much loss and so much love and so much attachment? How do you keep showing up?
I show up because that's what God has asked me to do.
Mm.
I know that nursing is a calling for me. I've done 100 other things in my life. This is my fulfillment. And I know that in some capacity, I will be doing it until the day I die.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I can do that is finding a healthy balance between my work life and my home life. And there are times where you certainly want to go home and just down a chocolate bar or a half a bottle of wine. But in the end, the best thing that a nurse can do for themselves is to also give the same love to themselves that they give to the babies.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that. And that is how I can show up every day.
What is something that you wish the world understood better about the NICU life, or even just being a NICU nurse? Or I don't know. I feel like so many people, at least CDH, nobody freaking knows what CDH is.
No,
nobody.
They don't.
You can make billboards all you want, or like you might get lucky if not lucky, but if your friend's kid has it. But there's just so much that I want to scream from the world. And people think it's just a regular NICU. And a regular NICU is traumatic too. I mean, if that's the worst you've ever been through, that is traumatic. But there's like levels of it.
Yeah. I think with CDH, a lot of families know ahead of time. So they know, okay,
shit's about to hit the fan.
Shit's going to hit the fan. This is what's going to happen. I may not bring my baby home, you know? And a lot of places have told families terminate. Like, this is a death sentence, you know? Like, you shouldn't do this. And then there's people that will reach out and find us and, they're given hope. And truthfully, when I moved out here, I did not believe. I thought, they're lying. There's no way. There's no way that there's such a success rate there. I mean, absolutely not. Everything I've experienced with CDH has been terrible. I mean, I had a cousin that lost a baby to CDH, you know? I mean, just seeing that, you know, and then just seeing, I don't know. I mean, it's just incredible how strong these babies are.
But it's so here. I mean, yes, there's other, I know you can go to CHOP. I know there's other hospitals that'll take it, and it's a spectrum of severity, but it is definitely here. It's just here.
It's really impressive. It's really impressive. As far as like NICU, I think a lot of families don't know that's happening. You know, they can't prepare themselves, you know.
I feel like when people think of NICU, they think of premature baby.
Preemies.
Yep, that's all the time. People think of NICU.
Yep, they think of preemies.
What's NICU? When you think of NICU, what do you think of?
I think of everything from 22 weeks on.
Yeah.
You know, I think of, because I've experienced. But prior to like being in the NICU, I think I probably thought more of like preemies, you know, because why would a baby be born sick?
And now
like, if it was full term, why would that happen?
There's airway issues, and there's, I don't know.
Born too early.
There's like babies on dialysis. Like there's so much that
Yep.
people just don't even think about.
And I think people just think, oh, they're just tiny. They're tiny adults. No, they're not. Like, you cannot treat them the same.
No.
They are so totally different. Their bodies metabolize medications different. They
also they're so much stronger than an adult. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh.
A kid on ECMO, I would say it's easier to get off than an adult on ECMO. Because once you get the choice to not live anymore, why would you? If a machine is doing everything for you, and it's very hard for people to understand that concept. Like, I remember when McRae was extremely hypoxic, and they had to give him, what was it, rock? Because he was fighting and he was going crazy. And I think it was Kay's talking or somebody, and he said, like, that would take out a horse, what I just gave him. And he's still going, like, babies, they are built different. Yeah, you think that they're little adults, but no, they're like little
They are
superheroes.
strong,
Like,
and they are
it's something-
fighters, and they
are
will
fighters.
kick your ass.
They will. They will.
And they don't even care.
No.
They're like, I don't care what time it is. I don't care anything.
And
I'm going to make you fight for your life,
as
girl.
soon as their saturations are fine, they're like, oh, thank God I didn't freak out there. Like, they've completely forgot it.
Oh, wait, let me hold my breath
goldfish.
again.
Yeah.
They
totally do.
It's
such a thing.
It is true. It's so true. But sadly, babies are born sick. I mean, sometimes you could be a totally perfect pregnancy and then have meconium aspiration, or something might not have been seen in ultrasound. It's insane to me. And why on earth would there, like, who thought ever, why would a baby be born sick? Like, what purpose is that?
I know. And that's what blows my mind about I feel like right-sided is more undiagnosed at birth than left. But what's something that you wish the world understood better about living a NICU life as a fly on the wall? You're a very important role in it, but just seeing it and these families in this situation, what's something that you wish people understood or could be armored up going into it? Like what they're about to get into.
Well, there's so much that goes along with that. And I don't know that there is truly an armor that could be built other than an armor of faith and an armor of just knowing that whatever the outcome is that we are protected by an almighty. But bringing this down to something more tangible is in the NICU life, it's a new normal. You find out you're pregnant, and there was this beautiful picture of this healthy, beautiful baby being born and placed in your arms. And then there's this flip side with
grief.
The CDH world.
So many people think grief is associated with death every time, but you grieve anything beyond normal.
Yes.
Yeah, you're like pre-grieving your life.
Yes. And you are lying there as your C-sectioned baby is lifted up out of your body and halted away before you even get to see those babies' eyes.
Yep. No cry.
And it's heartbreaking. And it is essential for every care person along that pathway to support mom and dad through this loss. It's a loss of a moment.
Yes.
It's a loss
of
something that was expected. And we need to appreciate that, not just as nurses, but outside, and our friends and our, pastors and anyone in our community to know that it is a grieving at the very moment.
Yes.
And that whole process is just cyclical, and it just keeps going because there's so many different aspects of what that expected normalcy is that is different. You can't cuddle your baby, but you can touch his toe.
The bath, brush the hair.
Right. The first bath, the just all of those important things. That's what drives me home.
This is probably going to be a heavier question, and it's okay if you don't want to answer. I can cut it out. But I was first of all, I appreciate what you say, and I agree with God and faith and understanding that He will get you through it. And I thought I was a Christian, and I thought I was a believer. I really did. But now where my faith is at now and the depth of it, I mean, I fully surrendered my life. It took McRae dying. I don't think McRae had to die for me to be a Christian.
Right.
But I'm saying it took me at my completely most broken, most empty. I had nothing. I totally understand the expression of pouring from an empty cup. I had nothing to give until I had God. And if I look back at everything, of course, it'd be easy to say, I wish McRae never died. But what I would really say from how much he's taught me and how much my faith has changed is I wish I had God like I have God now sooner, because then going through that would have been, I would have had more strength, in pulling from him. And it's such a fine line, like especially after a loss, for me to either be mad at God, not even believe God exists, because why would God have a baby die? That's so often.
Right.
But I want to know how you balance faith. I was amazed when I was down in Florida. I would say 7 to 8 out of my 10 nurses were Christian, and people don't think that way. I mean, as a science major in college, it was so hard for me because I had pre-med meeting a believer. It just wasn't a thing. My professors weren't believers. So then when I go to this hospital with these extremely sick kids, and I have my nurses praying over McRae, not even asking me, just praying over McRae. And you just know a believer. How do you balance in such a science-driven field, and knowing like surgery helps CDH? How do you balance knowing God is there too in that room, and you having to be, a lot of people think like with me doing this, people have told me I've defied God's will or intention for my child by them doing, that's a very heavy question.
Wait, by doing what?
Or just even like finding CDH and treating it and caring for it. Some people like get that diagnosis and then they let their baby pass after birth and they don't step in and do things. And sometimes they'll say like that was God's intention for them to be sick and for them to die.
I think everybody has their own faith, and we need to respect that. That's just something we should do with everybody in every scenario, right? Respecting those choices. What concerns me, and I might be getting off on this little question, is that are some of these parents being driven to that decision by their provider saying, there's nothing we can do? Because that is a pretty big statement, right? There's nothing we can do. But that's not true in this world.
Right.
Because God is present in this world. And because he's present in this world, there is something that can be done. And God has bestowed gifts on these surgeons.
Yes.
To do things on this earth in his name. I don't believe gifts are given to people
for gain of people.
Gain of people.
Yeah.
And maybe in some people's perversions it goes in that direction. I get that, because the world is not perfect. But God still bestows gifts to save lives. I believe that God has bestowed a compassion in me that drives me to be able to give unconditionally my love to these babies. Every baby. Every human that I meet. And that's a gift just as much as it is a gift that Dr. K's has been given, and his team.
Have you seen situations where, at least I think I have, where these babies, they're born sick. They only know how to be sick. I think half of the things, people sometimes treat babies like little adults.
Yes.
These babies can handle so much more than adults. Like I remember one time McRae was having an episode and he was very sick, and we just needed him to calm down and like either let ECMO do the work. I don't know if he was on ECMO or off of it at this point, and we had to give him rock. And I remember Case kind of laughed one time and he was like, yeah, that would take out an elephant, what I just gave him. Like, how is he still fighting me? How is he still pushing? And I see God, like whenever he had no lungs, no aeration, nothing, and he got off ECMO, we didn't know after his CT if he would ever get off ECMO. And I just knew. And then he was. do you still see God in everything too? You can tell like when it's you guys, but you can also tell when it is God because nobody can explain
Absolutely.
why these babies do these things.
Agreed. I mean, every baby's going to respond differently to the same treatment, you know, but I feel like, I don't know. It's not even really like I feel like, it's a belief.
Yeah.
It's a belief. I know.
You know.
God has a hand in science.
Yes.
He has a hand in everything. And to deny that on any level would honestly be ignorant.
Yeah.
Ignorant of heart.
Yes.
And ignorant of what beauty exists in this world. To not know that would be sad.
When you think about babies like McRae, what stands out the most in your memory? Like, I don't want to say like McRae. I guess I do want to say like McRae, like sickness wise, but what stands out? Yeah, let's just talk about McRae. Let's be selfish. This is my podcast.
That's right. So we can talk about whatever we want.
What stands out the most?
Man, McRae is just a badass.
He was badass.
You know, like adults, like they go to the hospital, they're sick, they're whining, they don't want to get better, they don't want to do the therapy, they don't want to take the medicine, blah, 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 blah. They do those things to themselves. Like these babies are born, they didn't do this to themselves, but they are born just fighting. Like they get up every day.
They come out fighting.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many people offered termination or whatever they call it with twins, reduction, because they're like, oh, they don't have a chance, or would you want, they're not. I don't know how they don't know. I wish the people who did that could see these babies because they want to live.
Yeah.
They want to fight.
They are strong and they are fighters. And they will. I mean, like even little kids, like I'll work in a cardiac unit. You know, a kid will have open heart surgery, come back from the OR with a breathing tube in. Next day we take it out. They still have chest tubes and we're like, you want to get up and walk? Do it for a popsicle? Yeah, okay. Do it for a popsicle. Let's get up and walk. Like what adult after open heart surgery is going to get up and walk?
Right.
They're going to be like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my pain meds, you know? But like these kids are just resilient and they fight and they are strong. And like McRae was so strong and he was a fighter. And he like, remember I used to just tell you like, look, like you could look at him and he would tell you what's wrong. You know, like how I taught you, like he's telling you something's not right, you know, and you have to figure it out. It's kind of like a mystery.
And his eyes told you everything.
Yeah.
You knew.
You really, they tell you, you just have to kind of figure it out and you just have to pay attention. And it's kind of like a vibe and it's a intuition and it's like all the things. But like McRae, you could just look at him and you're like, you're having a good day, buddy.
Yep, you knew. Oh, you really knew his good days.
You're having a good day.
You really did. McRae, what stands out in your memory of McRae?
Oh, McRae. His eyes.
Yes.
His eyes spoke. I feel like they spoke to me every day, sometimes in anger.
Yeah.
Sometimes like, figure this out.
Yes.
Help me.
He communicated.
Like, that was his way. That was really, in a lot of these ECMO babies, that's their only way of communication to us other than their hemodynamics, right?
Yes.
That we can see on their monitors. But from him, his eyes, so expressive. So expressive.
I got his eyes right here. I don't know if you've seen
Oh my
that.
God, I did not know that.
Does it look like him?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yep. And that's actually where he died too. You know, I was holding him right there.
Oh
and that's the last place he was looking at me.
Oh.
So I got his eyes. Because I agree. He
Right?
was very... He also looked like an old man. Like, he was very, very expressive.
Well, he was very discerned, you know, as he should have been.
Yes.
Like, what is going on with me? Like, why am I not being held? Why am I not being cuddled?
They're
why
aware.
am I not getting some milk right now? You know, all of those things. His eyes told this story, and I just, every morning when I did my affirmations with him, that was one of my most soulful moments with him. And it was very personal. And I felt like he heard me.
Oh, he did.
And our conversations, like, even throughout the day. But
he knows his people, too. And these, especially in this unique situation where these babies are there for so long, he had his favorites. And he knew his people. And he knew Mom. He knew when I was in there. But he knew his nurses, too. And I mean, it was amazing. And my favorite memory, and I know you probably know what I'm going to say, but I love more than anything not leaving him. That was hard. But it was hard. I was down there by myself with him and Lottie.
Yes.
And then Cody was with the older two, and he was still in North Carolina. And back on us becoming family, I read to McRae his testimony, or his Bible stories every single day. And it's just the kids' Bible. And I loved when you would work, it would bring me comfort. I can leave. I can take Lottie to dinner. And if I couldn't read or I had to fly or go see the other kids, knowing you comfortably would read this, and it wasn't like, hey, I need you to read this Bible to this baby. You wanted to do it. Yes. And I would come back and it wouldn't be the next day. It would be like 7 days in advance. And Sherri would be like, oh, I got carried away. But the stories were so good. And, she's reading to McRae, and I love that. And he loved being read to.
Oh, he really did. He really paid attention. Like,
he really paid attention.
His eyes would track. It was the cutest thing in the world. And it was just a hope. And knowing that that McRae was with us. He was there. Even though he was completely sedated and couldn't move a finger beyond, just a little twitch, but his eyes, the soulful, beautiful eyes, and reading his stories just brought me so much joy.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
All right. The last question, because I got to shout out to my own podcast here, but it says,
absolutely.
You're the ones as nurses who breathe between the battles with families. What keeps your heart steady? I know we kind of talked about, like, how do you even it out when you go home? Like, do you turn it off? When does it hit you? But why you personally, when the days are heavy, why do you keep coming back? Because I feel like the days have been real heavy lately. Yeah. I mean, and you guys, and yes, they have great statistics, but at least where McRae was at, they went through a little lull there. Yeah. We had babies born really early. We had babies. I don't know if I'm speaking for Hopkins or not, but it really felt like if the baby didn't pass within the first week, pretty much they were good. They made it out of there. So like when you do have a baby like McRae, who was there for 4 months, I thought he was going to make it out of there. I thought we barely were going to, like, by the skin of our teeth, make it out of there. But how do you go back? Because, I mean, who else is going to do it?
Well, I think, like I said, I replay things in my head. And I always try to think of, how can I be better? What can we do better? Like, we can always do better, And I think that's what keeps me going back, is knowing that 5 years ago, we weren't where we are with CDH. We weren't where we are with things. And I just think there's so much good. There's so many more, there's so many kids and babies that get to go home that 5-10 years ago might not have had a chance.
Mm-hmm. And I said that even after McRae passed, and we just went over his autopsy. I mean, all I could say, nothing negative. I just said, like, I hope you've learned something from him. Yeah. And you can use it on another baby, because he was very sick. But
absolutely. And it sucks. It sucks to think that somebody might learn something.
And my kid had to die.
Yeah. And you had to be the one.
Yeah.
But
also it's so rewarding, because, like, then when that baby lives that was that sick, and I selfishly am like, oh, I hope McRae helped them. Yeah. And I think McRae did, because I know, at least for a little bit after when he left, since he was on ECMO and things, there were other babies there on ECMO, and they asked me, like, what can we do? And I was like, let moms hold their babies. And I pushed for that. And Karin is the world's biggest pusher for that. And so I got to hold McRae. This is what Karin got me for Christmas. I got to hold him on Christmas Day. And that was my Christmas present. And he was born in September. So if you don't know McRae or his story, I know, again, I'm not taking it away from people, because I know they'll say, like, oh, I didn't get to hold my baby for 4 days. And that is the worst thing that's ever happened to them. And that is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. Anytime you don't get to hold
your baby.
And then I hear that, and then I'm like, okay, I haven't held my baby. It's been 2 months. Like, when am I going to hold? Yeah. And it's so hard as a mom, especially maternal, and growing this baby inside you. Like, obviously I was bonded to him, but I wanted to be more for him. And he did. Like, his saturations, he went up. When I would crawl in bed with him, when I would rub his little belly, like, dude was sat in 100, 100. Like, he knew.
Yeah.
They do communicate with you. Even if that's why we called him Mechanical McRae, because he was like a cyborg and he was communicating through his ECMO circuit, playing Mario Kart, like what I would say, or like through his little TV with all of his oxygen and all of that on there. So,
but I mean, that's like your job as a mom, you know, like it's your maternal instinct to like, you grow this baby, you know, and then your intuition and your instinct is to feed them and keep them warm and nurture them. And you are their safe place, you know, and to have to go through the situation and completely give up control.
Yeah.
That just destroys my heart.
Yeah.
And I think
you don't even hear them cry.
No. And I think that's why I push so hard for parents to be able to hold, you know, and as a mom, that is your job and that is your instinct and you want to provide for your baby, and to be standing there like you can't do these things, you know, and we're trying to teach you like you can touch them and you can do this, and it's not the same for your mom's heart.
Well,
you
you
know?
had that one baby, were they on an oscillator? That baby that was about to like pass away, and you were like, let mom hold.
Yeah, that was an oscillator.
Yeah, and then the baby got better, right?
Yeah,
and went home.
She's like 15.
Yeah, and see, freaking, so if I could tell you anything, ask to hold your baby, please.
It's just, I mean, and I understand from a physician standpoint, and I understand from a safety standpoint, like I never want to do it if it's not safe. If I don't feel like the cannulas are in a good position or the kid's not in a good position, like I would never want to do that. Especially at the end of McRae
coming off ECMO. Yeah. No, I was even too scared.
Yeah.
I literally saw his cannula coming out.
His cannulas.
The little metal
were the
part.
death of me. I was like, but, you know, like it's just these babies do so good.
They do.
Like they want to be held and loved, and just like that's such an important thing. And I just wish that other people could see how important that really is, you know. And you can't spoil a newborn. People think, oh, don't pick up the baby when they cry. And I'm like, what is a 1-month-old trying to manipulate you for?
Thank you. Oh,
like literally something is wrong, and that's what you and I would talk about, right? Like something is wrong.
Yeah.
Like he's crying because something is wrong.
That's normal.
Like normal baby stuff.
Cry when something is wrong. That is how they communicate.
Something is how they're communicating. So you're basically telling them to shut up. Yeah. Like don't talk, don't communicate, don't tell me what's wrong, but what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like why are you crying?
I'm gonna figure it out scientifically and stuff.
It's just strange.
Yeah. And speaking of hope, my podcast is called Breathe Between Battles. So I say you're the ones who breathe between the battles with families. What keeps your heart steady when the days get heavy, especially after a significant loss? And I could be biased, but I just being there, I truly feel like it was very unique. If a baby passed away, it would be, I would say, within the first week of them being born, especially if they were early. That's pretty much when babies pass. But then you get these unique situations like McRae, where they've been there for months,
right?
Or I hear about like a 5-year-old, you know, years later. But that's not often. Like this everybody, if you do have a CDH diagnosis, you know, you can look up their statistics. So they have a very high success rate.
They do, yes.
So how do you keep, first of all, 2 questions. Like, when does it hit you? Because I know you go to work, and I truly feel like this is a difference between some nurses and doctors. There is they're desensitized at some point. I truly feel like doctors are more than nurses.
Agreed.
And I feel like sometimes they forget this is my whole life and this is my child, doctor-wise. You know, if their patient's having a bad day, they go home. Maybe it weighs on them. And I'm not speaking for all doctors, because I know like they're not all like this. They just go home, they watch football, they do their thing. Like, especially after a loss, how do you go home? First of all, how do you keep it together in character at work? And then when does it hit you? Like when I was talking to Karin, and she said she's lucky if she can make it to her car. And I never even thought that way. I was like, wow, I just thought, you know, some people can sometimes it's not healthy to like bring work home, but like, how do you not bring work home?
It's nearly impossible to not bring it home, right? You get hit by a semi-truck. That's the way it feels to our hearts when we lose patients. It is a huge impact. And exactly right. There's many times we don't make it down the hallway. And I have found myself in a closet crying just to console, just to gather myself together so I can go back to the room and be there for the family
Right.
and for the patient and be professional.
And we have no idea. Like,
And
you
it
guys are
is
crying in the
so
closet.
hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes I cry in front of families, and I feel like that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't blubber.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I was going to do that, I would definitely be in a closet.
Yeah.
But tears do come because we're human.
Yeah.
We're human. But I would say the biggest thing that keeps me to be able to come back is the love that I feel at home. The love that I feel at home fulfills me to the point that I can be healthy enough to come back the next day.
That's awesome.
And love as big as I did before my heart felt broken from a loss of the child, or even or sometimes it's just a morbidity, an increased morbidity that takes us to that place where we're like, oh my God, where are you? What are you doing?
It's taxing.
And it's taxing on our spirituality.
Yes.
It's taxing on our mental health. It's taxing even on our physical health, because when we don't have mental health, we tend to not drink enough water or eat enough food, all of those things, whether we're the parent or the nurse, and those are things that we can help each other remember. But yeah, there's many times I've sat in my car and just cried before even being able to turn my car on to go home, because I don't want to take what I'm feeling back to my family. But I do know that if I do, it's safe. It's a safe place to do so. I will tell you that any time that we lose a patient on the unit, there's a change in the overall feel of the way the nurses are moving through. It's like a change of energy almost. The love is there, but there's a solemn feeling, just a solemnness. But also, you can feel that the nurses are trying to offset that.
Yeah.
With being,
to do your job. Yeah.
Trying to be a little more joyful to not have that sadness for the other families. So it's a balance, and it's
because their world, they need hope.
Right.
They can't have that.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's where we have a challenge as nurses, because we're humans.
Yeah.
A lot of people see us as superhumans. And that's okay, but we're still human. And we have all the same emotions. And with everything that every family that is dealing with on the unit, as far as being away from their family, we're away from our families.
Yeah.
For 12 hours. And not just 12 hours. Sometimes that's, extends to like 14 hours. And then you have the emotional piece. And that can extend even further. So having what you were asking, that balance at home, that love at home, and that care that you can walk into at home is so essential. So essential. That self-care. Whether it's recognizing that self-care within yourself or knowing where you can get it. I feel like that's such an important balance for nurses.
In your time, have you seen a nurse or a doctor? And it's not like you guys are suffering loss after loss after loss. It's you guys have you're such a powerhouse of a CDH unit. These babies are getting out of there. But have you seen, not the snap, but just someone, has somebody left the job before? Have quit? They just could not do it anymore? Have you seen that?
I have not personally seen someone walk off and not come back, but I have understood and seen nurses take an extended little break.
Yeah.
Like a call out for a week or two. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the self-care we do, right?
And I think people really think it's a job to some people. You could just go home and you just keep showing up and you just keep doing it. But I don't think people really realize the weight that you guys carry.
There might be some nurses that show up just for the job and the paycheck.
Yeah.
But honestly, I can't imagine that happening where I work
Yeah.
because we don't really get paid the best.
Yeah,
So it's like, I know that my coworkers
Mhm.
are there because they want to be there.
Mhm.
They care about the children. They care about the moms and dads and the siblings, which I think is one of the greatest things that we can offer is sibling support.
Yes.
And I feel like we do a good job at that.
Yeah.
I really do feel like that we do a good job at that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could do a little bit better job on communication with parents
Mm-hmm.
on every level. I feel like transparency could be improved.
Yeah.
I really do. On all levels.
If you are about to be on this journey or you're about to relocate and be living in a hospital for a little bit, like what is just one thing that you wish you could tell them? Like, I don't know. You just got a crazy diagnosis. You're about to move. I would say, from my experience, there's two types of people, really. I think knowledge is power. But there are also parents whom I've met, and they did not want to know anything. If the cannulas were in the wrong place, that would make them shit their pants if they heard that. Like with that time he had to get deep or recannulated or whatever.
Girl.
That freaks some people out. I'm like, I want to watch.
Freaked me out.
Like whenever they took out his chest tube,
scared.
I was like, let me be in the room. I want to see. But it wasn't a control thing. It was just, oh, that's my baby. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care how many tubes, how many things are attached to him. Like I would say, if I were to give advice, start looking it up. Listen to this podcast. You'll learn questions to ask, but also get to know your nurses because they're advocating. I mean, just as much as you. Like they're pushing just as much.
Advocate. Advocate. If you feel strongly about something, majority of the time, your intuition is correct.
Yes.
So
even if you don't know the words, that's when you get a nurse like Karin and you're learning the words. Like
we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. We'll talk it through. Something might not be right. You just have to go with your gut feeling. You really have to just advocate. This is your baby. Mm-hmm. This is your child or your baby, whatever you're going through. And you really just have to be their voice.
And you're not powerless. I remember some days they would want to wean a medicine, which is the ultimate goal. You want them to be off all medicines. But sometimes I would be like, can we just take a break for a day? Yeah. Like you're allowed as a parent, you are allowed to speak up and say things. I mean.
And question things. if it doesn't make sense to you.
Exactly. And then they will give you the answer and it will be polite. I promise. Like, hopefully.
And sometimes it might not be polite. But you know what? That's not your problem.
Sometimes I needed to hear,
their problem.
No, we need this for them to be alive.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that. So sometimes I'm like, well, that's silly. But I needed to hear it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. do you want anything else to add?
I think just like asking questions, like you said, and just doing the best you can and don't be hard on yourself. Mm-hmm. Like the biggest thief of joy is comparison, And I think I told you this before too, that my therapist had told me, yes, I go to therapy. All nurses do. And we're all medicated. No, I'm just kidding. kidding. Okay, we drink. But anyway, cut that part out. My therapist used to say to me, because I have such bad anxiety too, and I worry and I stress, and it's like, she's like, you're grieving about something that hasn't even happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's so, okay,
like,
therapist.
Do you want to grieve twice? Like, what if it never happens? You just grieved over something for no reason. So then you're torturing yourself. You're going through it twice.
So many people think that grief is post death, really. That's like the biggest, like when people think NICU, they think grief. When they think grief, they think your grandpa died or something like that. But grief it's forward too. Yeah. Like it is future grief. Like
it's everything. It doesn't have to be death. It doesn't have to be death.
I was grieving when McRae was alive. Yeah. Like your life just changes.
Yeah. It's something that's changing your life that affects you. And
that's good. You want to grieve twice. That's a good. Yeah.
I'm working on that still myself.
Yeah. But it's easy to say.
But like I have to remind myself sometimes, like, try not to worry about it so much, because if it doesn't happen, you just grieve for no reason.
Yep.
Optimism. Yeah. But also
realism.
The realism.
Also realism. Also life sucks.
Also like I said.
Okay, well, thank you.
But I met you.
That's true. And now
we're family.
Now we are family. And we are family.
We
Shout
are.
out to Helen, Georgia.
Shout out. And then we're
Two
also,
men.
we have made an arrangement for our children to be married. Whether
Yeah,
they know
also,
it or not yet.
also that.
Yeah. So there's that.
We really are family, just in 20 years.
Bringing back arranged marriages.
It's going to happen. Well, thank you so much for being on this, Karin.
Of course, anything for you, Chloe.
I appreciate it. And I'm going to call, and whatever, if this sounds terrible, I'll be back. And we'll just ask Karin more questions because we love Karin.
Or you can go see Sherri. Sherri's amazing. Sherri will be very eloquent and have better words, and I just word vomit. So.
It's okay. It works.
Hey.
I'm well-rounded in my nurse.
There you go. Yeah. We can't forget Gay Sarah.
Yes. Shout out to you, Gay Sarah.
Shout out, Gay Sarah.
Okay, that was mostly inside jokes, but this is Breathing Between Battles. I'm peacing out.
I love you. That was funny.
If there's anybody who just got this rare diagnosis, they just found out they're going to have a cardiac kid or CDH kid, their life is about to change forever. They're pregnant right now. If you could tell them anything today, what would you say?
Do not accept your first diagnosis.
I agree with that.
Do not accept the first subjective view on that diagnosis. Search and do the right research, not on Google, but do the right research. Figure out who's going to be your best fit, and know that you're going to have a journey.
And that's a big reason why I do Breathe Between Battles, is I want to hear these rare diagnoses. I want people to hear this story and where they went, because when I found out about CDH, even Googling it, nothing comes up. I mean, it is so rare to find a hospital that's willing to take it on. They so pushed an abortion, a reduction is what they would say, because twins. But they, I found out through, what was it, like hearsay? It was Facebook. I found out through Facebook about this tiny little place on there's a CDH support group on Facebook. My MFM did not send my chart to Hopkins. They refused. They said there's no point. Like, I need to start preparing for him to die after birth. They're like, we'll send it to Baltimore Hopkins because they do FIDO, but we are not sending it down to St. Pete. And I called St. Pete myself, and I got in touch with Jackie and Joy. And so that's why I'm doing this. I want people to hear at least something, be able to look up their condition, and it'll be like, oh, here's a mom that had it, or here's a parent that had it. And so.
Well, Dr. K's is the cowboy.
Yeah.
I mean, truly the cowboy. He's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. And I would entrust him.
And I'm excited because I get to
with
hear
my
him.
child. And that says a lot.
Yeah.
Because we bump heads.
Yeah.
We bump heads as, colleagues. And
yep.
I don't know that he sees me as a colleague, but more of, like him here and me here. But we bump heads, but because we're doing things good.
Yeah.
We're doing things right. And sometimes that's what it takes.
Yep.
It takes people bumping heads.
Because it's not one person. It's that whole unit.
It's the whole thing.
You guys are all advocating.
100%.
These babies.
You created this cogs and wheels, and that's exactly what happens on the CDH unit.
I love that, because McRae.
It's cogs.
Yeah, they were all the gears. And that's,
yes, it's cogs. And it's the way the gears work together. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have little, there's a little bit of chafing going on, but we work it out. And I would say, don't give up to any family that's getting this diagnosis. There is a way. Mm-hmm. And don't ever take your first diagnosis, maybe not even your second.
Yeah.
Keep searching, and know that whatever the outcome is, you're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing we could say, is you will be okay. And it won't always feel great, but it will be okay.
That's good. Well, thank you. I think that's all of my questions. Do you have a question for me? I'm just kidding.
How are you?
Yeah.
How are you? We're over a year.
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing? How are you managing? Because I see you doing all these wonderful things for yourself. I imagine it's helping, but I see you have a gift.
I just saw so much. When I think about in hindsight of my journey and my diagnosis and even going down there's so many gaps of my memory, but then I take that as symbolism for me doing what I'm doing now. Like, I'm filling these gaps. Like, when I was there for Safari and I told you I got to be what I wanted, like when my kid passed away, I want to do that. I want to fill in what we're missing. I want to do research. If you tell me your kid has like Pallister Killian, I'm going to look up everything I can find. I'm going to talk to other people and I'm going to give you other families, and I want to give you a community because, like you said, going home and having that community, going to work and having that community, and then being somebody on the other side of it. Like, this isn't my job. Like, this is my baby. You need that. You need that community. And I'm just putting all of my energy and everything into that because, my life had McRae lived, I would have been raising McRae, and I'm not given that opportunity. And so whatever love and effort and heart I would have put into him is what I'm going to put into all these babies that I hope that I could help and talk to their families. And I don't know, some days I'm doing good. Some days, like today, like reading over the report, they're hard, but same, I guess you just have to figure out that balance, like you going back to work and someone's got to do it.
And you going to take care of your other children.
Yeah.
And Lottie, the twin, and, your other babies. Like, how was that?
It's hard. A lot of, in my grief group, there's a lot of the parents say, like, when there was a baby born at the same time as their baby, or they see a kid at the same time as their baby, they're like, oh, I had to delete them off Facebook, or I couldn't. And whatever works for them works for them.
Right.
Like, they could kind of shut off the reminder of what could be, or they just didn't want to see it. And McRae has a twin. I am constantly seeing what I could have. So it is such a blessing. You have a choice when, like I said earlier, I can like pretend God doesn't exist or be mad, but you have a choice in everything. I could pretend, I could see Lottie as not McRae and like what I could have, and I could see it negatively, or I could see Lottie as what McRae could be. Like, this is what I could have. I could have two of these. And my whole mindset, I feel like I'm in the Matrix and like there's like codes and stuff everywhere. Like, my whole mindset has completely changed. And happiness and love and showing up is a choice every single day. And I'm going to choose to fight and to choose to do it every single day. And I'm going to look at Lottie and know, like, there was another like half of her,
right?
But I'm also gonna love it and appreciate it, and I keep him alive. Like, Lakin loves to talk about McRae. Everything's different. Play is different. And this is how I'm gonna keep him alive. And the golden gear, I want to have his award, and there's so much I want to do. So it's healing. It hurts. It's a good pain because it's so healing too. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you are one of the most beautiful people. You have a beautiful voice. The way you express your heart, the way you have shared your experience is a gift to every person who listens to this.
Thank you.
And I love you.
You're going to make me keep crying. I love you too. As we wrap up this episode, I just want to take a moment to thank every nurse, those who've stood beside families like mine, and those listening who might not even realize how deeply your care ripples through generations. You're the unsung heroes of these stories, the ones who turn monitors and machines into moments of compassion. To Karin and Sherri, thank you for being the sun and the moon in our darkest nights, for teaching me, guiding me, and loving McRae as your own. Your impact lives far beyond the hospital walls, and I really hope you guys know that. And I'm so excited to share that in one of these next episodes coming up. I will be sitting down and having a conversation with the Dr. Kays, the surgeon who has dedicated his life to children born with congenital diaphragmatic hernia. We'll get to hear his why, his passion, and his heart behind the work he does. And it's going to be so good to have the chance to thank him in person on behalf of myself and a lot of these parents who just got this CDH diagnosis or years out living their life with their CDHer. We get to thank him for being a doctor who went against the grain, who challenged the odds, who continues to fight for these kids to have a chance at life. And until then, thank you for being here with me, for listening, for learning, and for breathing between this battle. Have a good day or night, whatever it is. Peace out. Love you. Bye.